Hey guys. Hi, welcome back again to my channel. I'm so excited to be sharing about budgeting with you guys today. Please stay tuned. Today we're talking about something very key, very important, and it's known as budgeting. So what the hell is budgeting? Budgeting is the act of deciding before anything. You decide what every dollar, every coin, every dime is going to do. Budgeting is not like just deciding I'm going to write down how much I'm going to spend, and then when the month ends, I'm going to write another list for the next month how much I'm going to spend without having like a look back. It's easy to be able to keep track of how much you have and be able to decide what you're going to do with this money, what you're going to do with this other amount. Who have families, the people who have boyfriends and girlfriends, or have a spouse, oh my god, the people who are dating. And so the question is, who should know about your budget? You shouldn't be like announcing to everyone this is your budget, or oh, this is your budget, check it out, let's share it. No, because of course there are people who are judgmental, the people who are going to not help you stick to your budget, the people who are going to judge how you spend on, say, wine. And all these things should be in your budget. So you should, according to me, I think that you should involve your parents if you're sharing the money with them. Someone else who should be involved in your budget is your spouse. If you have a spouse, they should know this is how much that you're making. You can make the budget together, or if you're making your own personal budget, you can explain to them that this is your budget and these are the things that you have on your budget for the month, and you cannot be able to go beyond it. Also, if you have a family and kids, you should be able to discuss with your co-parent. So now that you have figured out what budgeting is, there are, so that you can be able to not assume you have a certain amount of money, end up spending and getting into debt because you didn't remember to put how much that is left after you have paid all your bills, after you've done all your utilities, after everything, and now you want to do something extra, so that you cannot go overboard with something extra. That's what budgeting is. Who should know is people who you're close to and your friends. I forgot to add that on the list. Your friends should know how much you can spend, and when they ask you to spend more than you can, you should be like, guys, that's not on my budget, and they should be able to understand. So when should you budget? When you budget is a very important thing. It's a very important concept. It's a very key concept, because people assume they just budget by the beginning of the month, and if things go wrong in the middle of the month, no. Budgeting, correct budgeting happens always happens. It's always happening. When you're going shopping, you have to have a list of the things that you're going to buy. When you're going to have lunch at work, if you're going to work, if you're going to a certain place, if you're going to visit a friend, everything every day should have a budget of its own. But to save yourself the work, you can do this monthly budget thing where you decide today, this month I'm going to spend this amount of money. So divide the amount of money you're going to spend per week depending on what you're going to do every week. Consider your daily expenses, consider your weekly expenses, consider your monthly, your once per month expense, and even annual expenses that you can pay or pile up every once in a month. That will save you a lot of money in the end of the year, if you get what I'm saying. I hope you're following. So now that you've figured out when to budget, you're wondering, how do I budget? Okay, how much do I budget? Of course, budgeting for, you should be sure which money you're budgeting for, if it's your salary, if you have two salaries, if you have different. So you should be able to know which income is the most dependable. Which amount of money are you sure to have every month or every week or every day, so that you can be able to budget for it for that day. So this is how I budget. When like we talked about in the previous video, we have the 50-30-20 rule. So this rule, it revolves around having 20% of your money saved, 30% of it spent on your wants, and 50% of it spent on your needs. So when I say 50% and 30%, this is 80%. So the moment you receive your money, you are supposed to put 20% of your budget into saving, your budget is the total amount of money you get. So 20% of it goes into saving. That is gone into deeper and deeper in this video. If you're new to budgeting, you might encounter a few difficulties because you're not sure of how much you spend. And this is normal within the first month. It's mostly the first month because this is when most of your bills are taken and other monthly utilities. You can just the first month of your budgeting, what you're supposed to do is you approximate how much money you spend on a certain thing. You can look it up, you can check it out, you can just find out how much things cost and then approximate that's how much you're going to spend. If you eat out, don't leave it out. If you have very expensive hobbies, if you do random things with your money like buying snacks, and just make sure you add them to your budget to an approximate. What I've learned is budgeting helps you actually track your money, although tracking money is a different thing compared to what budgeting is. They both serve a unique purpose of helping you understand where your money is going and how you are spending your money. So as I mentioned, expense tracking of your money, I'm just going to go into that point right now. When you're in the first month of budgeting, or your first time that you're taking budgeting on a serious note, I would advise you to also track your money on the side. What is tracking of your money? Tracking of your money includes writing down or typing down exactly how much you spend in a day and on what. This will help you to set your budget for the next month, and it will also help you to set a better budget that will help you to not get confused or anything. Here are some tips I have when you start budgeting. First of all, don't budget money you don't have. Make sure you have this money before you start budgeting for it, because you don't want to budget for something and then you get less money than you are expecting. This would lead to you not being able to manage your money, because somehow when you receive a certain amount of money, you're able to budget for it and not for an extra amount, and somehow it will fit. Your budget is supposed to be like a reference. It's supposed to be your Bible. It's something you're supposed to look at or look into every day. It's not something that's supposed to be a monthly thing. If you can put it on your phone, then it would be amazing for you to be able to look at things. And if you have something you want to buy, you can be able to check if you have a category in your budget that you can lift some money from and get what you desire to have, or you can wait till the next month to get what you desire at that specific time. So a tip I would like to leave you is don't be stingy. Don't be stingy with your money. No, don't be like, no, I'll spend 200 on that sector, yet you very well you usually spend 2,000. No, make sure even though you are rationing your money, it's not cold turkey giving up on things. You should make sure that you're able to spend that money even though you're reducing, not too much. Don't be stingy with your categories. I'll get into the categories in a few. Start small. Like if you're someone who doesn't have like a exact amount of money that you receive, start by budgeting how much you'll spend when you go to the supermarket, how much you'll spend when you go to the groceries, how much you'll spend on your phone bill in a certain day, how much you spend on your phone bill on a certain week. Then grow from there, because starting small helps you to understand the do's and don'ts of budgeting. Okay, the other tip I have for you is make sure you are putting a fixed category. You have a fixed category on your budget. This is to say, if for example you pay rent monthly, that's something that's fixed. So have it at a fixed category that this amount of money has to go to my rent. This amount has to go to my utilities. Things that are not flexible should not be messed around with when it comes to budgeting. You can't cut on your rent unless you decide to move out, and that's a whole different story. Be aware of the aspects of your expenses that are fixed, like your rent, and others that are flexible, like partying and going out. The best way to budget is by working with something you're comfortable with. Don't just get an app and say, "Oh, I'm budgeting." No, you actually have to start budgeting. When you start to budget, ask yourself what makes the most sense to you. How do you normally spend your money? Do you spend it daily? Do you like the kind of person who thinks I have 300, I'll be good today? If so far you're enjoying this content, you're getting value from this content, please hit the like button, kindly subscribe, and leave a comment below if you have anything to add, because there are designs and styles of saving that I cannot touch on in one video, but you can share it with us on the comment section below. Don't be shy to search how to budget, when to budget, how, and ask me anything in the comment section below. The best and the most important thing to happen is that you form an amazing budgeting habit as early as possible. That's what's important. You understanding that you budgeting money is more important than actually assuming how much you spend.